All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Robinhood Weekly. We decided to kick Tanner off the podcast. I'm just going to be honest. Roy, why did we decide to kick Tanner off the podcast?
It's because Tanner is always late.
I realized that I just don't like Canadians. That's what I honestly realized. That's the issue we have going on right here. Because one of these Canadians is backstage and his camera isn't even on, even though it's 9:32, and he's just not ready. It's an important show. We got a lot to talk about. And this guy shows up 2 minutes late.
I have literally been here the whole time. He wouldn't put me up in front of the stage.
Bullshit.
They're setting this up for jokes, and I'm sick of it.
No.
I'm absolutely
He's really
sick
late
of
this
it.
time.
Roy and I were having a whole conversation without you, bro.
I don't believe it one
whole
bit.
Conversation. Of course you don't believe it because you weren't there to hear the conversation.
Okay, well, that kind of gave it away. If someone was a detective, I guess they would have pulled that apart. My bad.
Obviously, we're just messing with you. We got a lot to talk about. Robinhood Weekly, episode number 11. Aggressive day in the equity markets. Robinhood stock, it was down 20% on the day. It is now down another 3% after hours. This has been one of the worst days, or I think this is the second worst day in history for Robinhood.
Brutal.
Very brutal, especially given the high we were running off of at 65. But the good thing about this podcast, and you and Roy have been through it with SoFi, I've been through it with Palantir. It's like the whole point of a weekly podcast is to deal with the ups and downs of the community or with the community of a company every single week. And today is one of the more down weeks. So I guess I'll give it off to you guys and then we'll get into the subtopics. But Roy, let's start with you. What is your reaction to the overall stock market sell-off today? And then your reaction to Robinhood going down by 20%?
Overall is probably pretty justified. There is, I've talked about it, especially last Monday. The Oval Office has introduced a lot of uncertainty in the market. Markets do not like uncertainty. And as a result, they tend to not perform well. There's some underlying reasons why. I think some of it might be overblown. We're due, I think, for a bounce just based on the RSI on the daily for the S&P 500 relatively soon. But that might be a bounce likely that some people take advantage of to get out of positions that they want to get out of. And it would not shock me if we have further downside. Now, we do have, jolts. We do have PCE or PCI coming out this week, maybe both. So a lot will depend on that too. But no, this is not one of those dips where it's like, oh, this is ridiculous. The market is just being stupid. It's like, no, the market is getting what I saw last week. Now, on some names, and it's the name that we're here to talk about, I think it's ridiculous and it's overdone. But on more volatile names, don't be shocked when it goes down at a higher amount. But 25% in a day. So I took advantage of that. I've been slow to buy this dip. Dips in the past that I feel are completely unwarranted and overblown. As soon as I recognize that, sometimes very soon, with the in-carry trade, sometimes not as soon with DeepSeek. It took me a couple of days to really get there. I'm like, okay, this is a buy the dip opportunity. All the cash I have, boom, buy the dip for the most part. This one I'm buying, but slowly, and it's in high conviction names. I actually sold out of 2 positions completely that I had less confidence in. Doing my weekly DCA and Robinhood, that doesn't change no matter what the valuation is. But I also added a good chunk more today, and also PayPal.
And PayPal.
Oh yeah, wow. PayPal, easy money. Like that's a nice thing about where PayPal is. This isn't PayPal Weekly, so we won't get into it too deeply. But with the way that they've structured and they're restructuring their business with the massive cash that they generate, even if a recession happens, they're still going to print money, maybe just not quite as much. With the buybacks that they're doing, by the way, they refinance some of their debt at a lower rate. That's one of the nice things about a lower yield on rates right now. I think a lot of companies and the United States government will take advantage of that. But there's a floor there. I don't know where the floor is as far as short-term price action, but it's hard for me to look out 5 years and see PayPal not be quite a bit higher. Robinhood I've been buying because it's a higher quality company than PayPal right now. It just frankly is. But there's a lot more risk in it. It's a lot more cyclical. It's a lot more volatile. This isn't This may not be the floor. I mean, we could see mid-20s. I don't think that we'd see teens, barring like World War III and alien invasion. But yeah, I don't know where the bottom is on this. I just know those are companies I have a very different perspective in, but very, very strong, firm convictions on where they are going. Higher upside, higher risk with Robinhood. And I don't mind owning both here at all.
I have a strong conviction, not that PayPal will do bad over the next 5 years, but that Robinhood will outperform PayPal over the next 5 years. So I only bought one stock today, and that was Robinhood. And yeah, there is a little bit of actual, fundamental problems that will happen in a market like this for Robinhood. So not only do they get hit twice because crypto and just general bearish sentiment might mean slower activity, but there was also a settlement that we'll probably end up talking about and the implications of that. So it was kind of hit a couple different ways today, at least sentiment wise. We'll talk about the settlement later, but yeah, I mean, large drawbacks like this on a company that's performing unbelievably, I just can't help but buy that and that exclusively. Now, I still have tiny bits of cash left, so I'm still just DCAing in. But if it keeps going, if somehow we continue to find lower lows, that I'm going to start to rotate out of some of my safer picks and then go into more my higher conviction growth names at cheap valuations.
What was your overall reaction to the magnitude of the losses today? 20%. Like, did you guys expect it to be that bad, or was it kind of understandable?
No, like, once it hit double digits, I was like, okay, you know what? This is one of those 12, 13% days. Once it passed 19%, went to 20%, I was like, did Vlad leave? Like, what's going on? Like, did he step down? So after going through and being like, okay, wait a second. The only piece of news is something. Can we go into that, by the way?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so there was a $26 million settlement with FINRA because of problems that Robinhood had in the past. And they were drawing back problems all the way from 2014 and saying, hey, you know what? Robinhood needs to pay for a lack of, I don't know if it was communication or KYC. I don't remember that part exactly, but they weren't losing customer money or anything like that. It was just, a lack of compliance, maybe keeping notes on their side. Anyway, what was the funny part though, and investor relations even affirmed this, they've already paid for this in their 2023 year and 2024 year. So it's not going to have a financial impact going forward at all. So I just think that that's a hilarious part. Like, this news is over and done with. The problems that they're dealing with are not there. The money that they had to pay has already been accounted for. So where do we go from here?
This kind of drop, the market is basically saying Robinhood will never make money on crypto ever again, or at least not for a long time. Now, to be real with you guys, if we enter crypto winter, we may be entering that. Like, I figured it would happen at some point this year. I was thinking maybe it'd be Q3. If you look at prior cycles, it should have been a little bit earlier. But if we do, that will slow down crypto revenue. It'll slow down those year-over-year comps, but there's still a growing business that's expanding internationally, launching a lot of exciting products. I'm sure we'll talk about the games too, and the event that's coming up at the end of the month. But it's a fantastic company. I have no problem buying more here. I actually think that this long-term, short-term, I'd be like, oh man, I'm an idiot. I bought more at 35 and it went down to $30 or 25, or probably not 20, but 20. I think 5 years from now, I'm going to be like, man, I wish I bought more at 35.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, my reaction was similar to your guys' reaction. I think the one reason I wasn't that surprised, I mean, like, obviously seeing it down 20% was tough to see, but I kind of feel like just being in the name for so long, like it's a proxy on a bullish market. And if we're not bullish, because I remember 2022, I mean, I didn't buy in 2022. I first bought June 2023. But I remember looking at it at $7 back in 2022, and I remember following the earnings, even if it wasn't as deeply as now. And yeah, the numbers sucked.
If a mid is frozen up, I see JC saying, you guys say this every dip. No, that's not accurate. Actually, last Monday, if you want to tune into Bootleg Weekly, you can look. It's recorded. Tevis and I were talking. I was like, I'm not in a hurry to buy this dip. I just finished saying, if you missed the beginning of the show, I think that there's more dip yet to come. We're looking at a bounce just based on RSI on the S&P 500, barring a further downside catalyst. But I think that'll be a short-term reprieve. Not all dips are quality. Not all companies are quality. Long-term, I think this is a dip worth buying. Short-term, like we could still go a lot lower in Robinhood. Because it's not trading. And it's one of those names. Some companies trade very close to fundamentals, period. And some are like almost all the way on the other side of the spectrum where they, like Tesla, they just trade on narratives and that's it. Fundamentals don't matter. Robinhood trades closer to narrative than fundamental, but there is a fundamental aspect for sure. Fundamentals are hurt a bit by this for sure. Narrative is still very much intact.
Am I still frozen or no?
No, you're good.
What was I frozen? Okay.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
Yeah. All I was saying is, look, it's a proxy in a bull market. If we're not in a bullish market right now, even in the short term, Robinhood is going to get hit. So that's it. I think that's what's happening right now.
Yeah, I think, you know what, whenever we do a weekly show, it adds a lot of scrutiny because you're sort of playing it by week of where the price is. But I am extremely bullish. So every dip, you sound the same. It's like, yeah, because my thesis is the exact same. So of course, why would I switch back and forth each week going, oh, this is when I sell, this is when I buy, this is when I sell. I'm buying and holding companies for years. Of course, on a week-by-week basis, I'm going to have the same sentiment. I'm tracking the news, but like the parts that I really like for Robinhood is their KPIs, right? Are they gaining members? Are they going gold? Are they transitioning over to retirement accounts? Are assets under custody going up? I'm not worried about like market gains on their customers is a great ad, but that's not the statistic that is going to make or break whether I want to own a brokerage or one that's, you know, transitioning out into crypto or all the new products that they're about to launch in this next event or the event after that and continuing to grow their TAM. I am really not a believer of trying to time markets or know where the bottom is. And everyone knows those types of sayings, but then they go, oh, it's going way lower from here. And like, you are timing the market by having these sort of sentiments. You are doing exactly what everyone tells you not to do. I'm trying to take that out, you know, so I am bullish on Robinhood. I am adding, obviously. And the previous dips that people have talked about were, you know, whenever it went from 20 to 17 or, you know, 28 down to 25. And who cared about those dips? I mean, of course I have the same sentiment. We're falling down 46% from its recent high. And that's still leagues above where we were whenever I originally bought, you know? Robinhood's such a funny name that if we look back on a 1 year chart, the stock's still up 90%.
Yeah.
So like, of course I'm bullish.
So we all agree on this too, that in a bear market, Robinhood's not going to perform as well, both the stock and the company. Are we entering a bear market?
I don't think so.
Why?
Likewise. It's going to take a lot more negative catalysts. It's possible, but with catalysts,
let's talk about this because I mean, I know it's about Robinhood, but it depends on the market, right? Like, what do you think is happening? Why are we selling off so aggressively? Not just Robinhood, the whole market. What is your thesis on it right now?
For Robinhood, it's because Tevis has been buying Robinhood, and we know that this is what happens. It would probably be in the 50s right now, other than that. But you can thank him long term because he's given us this credible dip. As far as the whole market, I can't imagine he's been buying enough to collapse the market on this. But part of it is we were due for a pullback. We're actually overdue. 10% pullbacks, which if you include after hours, we hit that with the S&P 500. We're actually closer to a bear market in the NASDAQ. And Russell, we won't even talk about that. But if we have another day like this, S&P 500 is in correction territory. 10% corrections are the norm in bull markets. Usually they have multiple of them. That's just kind of a feature of a bull market. Now, a big part of it is uncertainty. Markets can't stand uncertainty. And you have that throughout the United States because of the way that's being governed right now. Whether you like it, whether you voted for it or not, that's what we have. And until we get more certainty, there's going to be a lot of volatility, and usually that's to the downside. The third thing is, it sounded like with what Scott Bessent, the U.S. Treasurer, and somewhat with what Trump said, if the United States was a company that reported earnings, they would basically be saying, hey, 2025, at least the first half, is a transitory year. That's code for it's not going to be very good. We're pivoting and changing a lot of the things that we do as a company, in this case, as a government. Long term, it's going to bring success. Short term, they may be pain. That's what they've signaled to the markets. That's what they're signaling as well. We're not seeing any reprieve when it comes to inflation, the job market, or cuts from the Fed. And so as a result, we've shifted from extreme greed, where companies and individuals tend to ignore any possible downside, any negatives at all. It's the honeymoon phase and everything is perfect with your spouse. And we've shifted now to extreme fear, where now it's like there's nothing good. It's terrible. It's like you've been married 20 years. You're having extreme, terrible difficulties, and everything is negative, and you're fixated on those negative. And based on that emotion and also algorithms, you're reacting. So both are wrong, and both tend to be faded over time. And I think that we'll see that, but there's going to be uncertainty for a while. That's my take. Yeah,
I mean, ditto. It's the thing why I think it's not going to get too bad is it's almost so self-inflicted and a phone call away from going to a bull market. So,
well, I'll correct that. We still are in a bull market.
Sure. By definition, yes, 10% correction, 25% bear market. Yes. But I mean, the sentiment, the fear, greed, let's say.
Sure.
But it literally is a phone call away and fully just self-inflicted by tariffs. And so it's real, but I do believe in holding great companies long-term. And whenever companies go on discounts, that's a great ad. And everyone likes to beat up, like whenever a stock goes down, I hear it on SoFi all the time. Oh, fire Noto, fire Noto. And then whenever the company goes up, this is the greatest CEO of all time. It's Looney Tunes. But if you really know a company, there's that Peter Lynch quote, like, if you're holding a company at 14, you want it to go to 22, that's a great trade. But if it falls down to 6 and you know the company, you know the balance sheet, you understand the business, and it falls down to 6 to 22 is a lot better than 14 to 22. So I'm a big dip buyer. I'm a believer in the United States market more than I am the Canadian market, even though I am a Canadian, but I don't have $5 million to become one of you guys. So I'm going to just stay over here and bet on you guys from a distance.
Yeah, I agree. I think there is a pretty credible thesis that the White House does not care about the stock market. They care about the 10-year yield. They care about bonds coming down in order to refinance debt and unlock the mortgage market, which is what Crossroad was talking about when it comes to Scott Bessent. Donald Trump quite literally said that he does not care about the markets. In fact, he tweeted this today. Backed by popular demand for the first time in 20 years, the Emmy-nominated original Apprentice starring President Donald Trump is back. Watch season 1 on Amazon Prime Video. The stock market fell 1,000 points today in the Dow Jones, 250 in the S&P 500, 900 in the NASDAQ. And this motherfucker is talking about watching The Apprentice. So obviously he does not care about the markets. It cannot be more obvious. And as market participants, I think we all have to sit back and be like, all right, if he doesn't care, we're going to get some pretty juicy dips until he starts to care.
I didn't see that one. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it shows what you think of the markets. People get annoyed when CEOs do that too. But we know that with Noto. He'll talk about sports because he likes sports, and he can do that. A comment on the stock price. Usually CEOs don't do that.
Yeah, your net worth is down $60 million. Stop talking about lacrosse.
Yeah, look, it is what it is. And I think there are some merits to what he's trying to do when it comes to bond yields. It's just, I don't think anyone predicted before he went into office that this was the strategy that he was going to deploy in regards to dealing with the markets, but it's what's happening. And if we end up being bearish for the next couple months, I think Hood's going below 30. Like, I think it's kind of obvious it's going below 30 because if Q2 is going to have hard comps. Q1, I think they'll get away with because of January and February, and we get February metrics tomorrow, so we'll see how they did. But February was relatively good. March looks like it's going to suck. Outside of new users and gold subscribers because of the promos they're running, but dude, in terms of net deposits, in terms of trading, in terms of people wanting to put more cash into Robinhood, assets under custody, we're going to get smacked. And
here's the thing. We have not seen a day of Q2. Not a day. Okay. There's no forward contracts that dictate whether billing has already, decided what contracts we're going to close. If the market's great, Robinhood's going to do great. We only know rate right now. And that's potentially March is looking worse than what we anticipated. But another thing too is the dips that we've seen previously, people have rotated their cash out of Robinhood.
Yeah, exactly.
Now with a lot of the banking stuff that they have, they are rotating their cash out of the brokerage side and putting it into Robinhood cash side because they're already paying for gold. And they probably won't stop that because the yield that they can get on the cash side and all the tools there is also very good.
Yeah, but I do think if Q2 sucks for the markets, again, it's just going to suck for Hood. There's no way around it. Right?
Sure, but we're already down 46%.
Yeah, but I don't think that matters, dude. Like, I agree. The $27 billion enterprise value is stupid to pay. But like, if we get a crypto winter, like Roy said, and then people just don't trade options anymore, equities we don't even make any money on, you don't get a lot of net deposits because people don't want to put money into their brokerage app. Like, it could get really ugly, is what I'm trying to say.
Gronk said Hood to 8. If you see that, like if we see that, barring like World War III or something, I'm going to be 100% Robinhood.
Yeah, I mean, look, so Robinhood's not going to $8, and I'll eat my words if that happens, but I don't think it's get that bad. I think this is fear mongering, and I think it's irresponsible to sort of make claims like that. But could we get below 30? Yeah, just based on the level of expectations we have to live up to in Q2. Do I realistically see that happening? Not really. But again, it depends, as you guys said, on how the next 3 months are going to be.
Yeah, I mean, that's always what happens, right? The market goes up for 2 weeks in a row, and you have guys saying 100x Palantir at its peak. And now it's like, okay, well, SoFi to freaking $4, PayPal to freaking $3.
Zero.
I don't know. We even had a conversation the other day. Me, Roy, and Tevis, we were talking about, would we buy NVIDIA if it went down to $40? Like, why are we even talking about this? It's ridiculous. Do
you feel personally and with your family and friends that fear is getting to pretty exaggerated levels?
So yes. But this is why in bull markets, Roy, Amit, Tevis, you guys all tell your family what to buy and everything like this. I said, stay the heck away from this, man. I'm telling you, because it'll ruin relationships. And now when shit's dropping, they don't hold. These people do not hold. Well, I mean, people that I've had, they don't think that the market, the way that I have conviction about the market is that it's impossible to go down over a 20-year period. The market, okay? People do not have that same conviction. They have like, oh, this is actually a bad rigged game and it's made for the rich and that it doesn't work. And so they sell and they have no long-term thesis and they bought it because someone else that was making money bought it and just don't tell people what to buy. Do your own thing.
Dude, it depends on you're right about my dad. My dad wants to sell everything. My mom wants to buy more. So it depends on the person, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah. My parents are happy holding. They're happy with their results. And I've got one friend that, like I talked to him about Palantir like 3 or 4 years ago because he was just curious about it. And I think his average is probably like 11, so he's okay.
Well, yeah,
he doesn't look at the market often either. Like that's actually the best people typically because they don't trade on emotion. Like they're not even aware there's a dip. They haven't looked. They don't have alerts set on their phone. By the way, guys, if you're new to the market and you're staring at this all day and it's causing you fear and that's what happens. And you're making decisions or you're tempted to that you might regret later based on fear. don't make decisions based on fear. You can have emotions. You're human. We're all human, except for maybe Tanner. But the rest of us, we can have emotions, but don't make decisions based on that. Second, it's okay to turn off the alerts. It's okay to turn off the notifications. If you've already done and you're in positions that you like, why do you need to look? If it's just causing you psychological,
you might be on margin and you need to make sure the notification comes in.
Yes, yeah. Or you're looking for a juicy dip. Like if you set alert for Robinhood at 28 and you're going to buy, put in a limit order or put in an alert. Absolutely. But most people are not in that mood, hopefully.
Yeah, I think there's also some of it's not that I don't feel emotion, but I also think like the tools that I also use to invest don't allow me to lose more than what I've put in. There's no margin here. There's no excessive option tools or anything like this. I play a pretty safe game, and that sucks on the upside and to watch other people get more rich than me. Then on the downside, I feel great. I have ownership in companies that I believe in for the long term. Okay. I see a CoreWeave OpenAI deal that happened today, and that was by far the most bullish thing that I read. And then the whole market's sinking, and it's like, okay, but this happened, and I'm really happy about this, so I'm going to focus on it. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, look, it comes down to, and we experienced this many times in 2022 with Palantir, and Roy can attest to it. But when it went down to $6, $7, $8, it came down to, is this a legitimate company or not? And if it is, it's like, all right, it sucks to feel this pain, but it is hopefully going to be short-lived. Same thing with Hood. Like they've given us more than enough evidence that they are a real company. They've rebranded the company. They have massive innovations. I mean, we'll talk more about the gold giveaway they did a couple of last week, but like they're giving away gold bars now. Like it's innovation on top of innovation on top of innovation. I'm sure Vlad's probably annoyed at the stock price today going down 20%, but he also knows like it's time to look at that 700 million they have reserved for buybacks and go shopping. I mean, like this is cheap.
Yes.
They could get cheaper, but I think they might be excited to take advantage of this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think whenever they allocated that, they said, hey, we want to keep the share count flat. I don't know if that'll be the case anymore. The Q1 buys will probably be larger than we expect.
Oh yeah. I mean, well, that should be, and you would think, Robinhood has some folks, not only just incredible engineers, but incredible investors. And so you would think that they'd have some of those folks at least speaking into whoever actually presses that buyback button. And they're like, hey, this is a little bit silly. Let's double or triple or quadruple down. So
yeah, Jason Warnick, he's a rock star CFO. I mean, he understands valuation. They bought 5 million shares at 19. They bought 5 million shares at 29. And people forget they bought 65 million shares at $10 back in 2023, June. They bought back.
There's one good thing that Sam Bankman-Fried did, eh?
Yes.
Yeah, he got us to buy back the stock. So
to be fair, actually, I want to give Sam a little bit of credit. He did a lot of good things. He just did one. He did one terribly bad thing and got caught while doing it. But he did definitely make a lot of innovations in the crypto space. That's for sure.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, let's talk about the quiz game that they had last week. So looks like it was a success. They gave away 2 million in Bitcoin and I think 1 million in Dogecoin. Scott Rogowski hosted the game show on the phone. Tanner and I got to play it live on the stream. Tanner, what was your reaction to it?
Super cool. I think some people said that they had technical issues. I didn't have hands-on access to it because I'm Canadian, but watching you play through it looked perfect. The audio, the visual, the ability to press the buttons and everything on time looked fine. I know some people said that they had problems with that. Yeah, I don't think they'll do it again, but I think, wow, what an amazing way to hop on a trend that was really quick. Like I said, this was based on one TikTok that said, hey guys, do you remember this HQ trivia thing? It happened 2 weeks, or it was 1 or 2 weeks. My girlfriend was telling me about this, and I brought up, I came to her, I was like, hey, you remember this HQ trivia thing? She goes, oh, you saw the TikTok. I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about, but Robinhood did this thing. And she goes, oh my God, it's all over TikTok. It's going viral. And I guess they just saw that, got the idea, and called up Scott. Like
Roy, what was your reaction to it?
It was amazing. I think probably 90% of the tech problems were just how quick that countdown was, that people didn't realize that the countdown started when the guy started talking before you even saw the question. They did that basically because we're in the age of LLMs, and so to hopefully prevent people from and sure enough, like there is that S&P 500 inclusion question. I was like, I don't know this. It's one of these two. I should have just guessed one. I probably would have guessed the wrong one. And then I quickly was searching and Grok ran out of time. And I was like, oh man. Now the frustrating thing for me is that second day, so on that one, I would have missed the last two anyway. It didn't matter. That second day, I knew all the answers. I knew all of them. Or it was process of explanation, like I knew, full certainty. And I messed up on the stupid SEC question. I was like, oh my goodness. Huge prize, relatively, like for a prize, something free, $1,600. Did great as far as as a user, very enjoyable, wonderful experience, even though I didn't win. And then the sad thing is that Perplexity guy that basically programmed, I'm guessing that Robinhood had planned probably to do more of these in the future, depending on if they hit their goals. What they're trying to do is probably drive gold subscribers. But now they may not, just because people can use that Perplexity, use Perplexity or Grok or whatever, program it right in and win. And there's few enough winners that does make a meaningful difference. So, but it was fun. I'm glad that they did it.
I'm sure that guy made a popular video because he was recording and everything. I'm sure he was not the only one.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you mean the thing Vlad posted?
Yeah.
The guy who cheated?
Yeah.
We should show it to everybody. Okay, so this was
very smart.
Vlad said this is why we can't have nice things.
Which had the mute it.
Solana.
January 2025.
Solana, 0.73. Insane, bro. Last one. Is this the last one? Let's go.
He's gonna scream.
Okay, again,
if you guess
Let's go.
This is kind of cool though, bro. It reminds me of college when you're just like,
the one friend standing there with his hands in his pockets because he decided not to play and didn't win $1,300.
What's also fun, I think, although Vlad said this is why we can't have nice things, I think he kind of was impressed with what they did because Vlad's a hacker, right? So he probably was like, oh, these guys like figured out a cool way to win this thing.
So that's one of those things. Like there's a lot of Robinhood news. Kind of wish Macro didn't do this because we could fill up this hour easy. But of course they had the crypto summit. But Vlad had this fireside chat that was like 55 minutes long. Did you guys catch the full thing?
This week?
What's that?
That was the one you streamed
last week.
Tanner, you streamed it.
Yeah. I didn't realize it was that recently.
Oh yeah. No, it's felt like longer, but. One of those things that he highlighted, which I thought was a great call out. I caught this in the 10K, and we talked about it 2 weeks ago. Maybe it was last week. I think it was last week that they talked about their two strategic imperatives on AI and cryptocurrency. And Vlad's like, isn't it interesting that the United States government, their strategic imperatives as far as their strategic investments have been around AI and around crypto, which are the cornerstone of what Robinhood is about. It's like, man, they are so ahead and they are so well positioned. It's amazing.
Yeah, I don't remember everything from that call, but I remember it being here. Let me try to pull up my notes because there was a lot of very interesting stuff there.
One quick thing I'll say about the giveaway. I thought it was just such a creative idea, and I think they can do it over and over and over again. I'm probably going to steal the idea as well and do it on my channel as like a stock market quiz because it was so much fun. But this is something you could replicate. $1 million every quarter. I mean, that's nothing in their marketing, right? So if they do this a couple times a year, that's another way to get tens of thousands of gold subscribers. And it kept people engaged. I mean, there were 400,000 people live on both days. And it was super fun. So I think they're just going to continue to innovate when it comes to this type of marketing.
So here's kind of the Cliff Notes version. They talked about a 10x revenue in 10 years from 3 billion to 30 billion. Robinhood Legend isn't cannibalistic only. I mean, there's probably some of that, but a lot of it is just new volume that they were not getting on the mobile side. Amit, I think you called this out, but CBOE attributed their record options level to Robinhood moving the needle. 50 million annual run rate. Futures has a faster ramp than index options.
They said index options has a $50 million ARR now?
Yes.
Not just Legend.
Yep.
No. Index only has 15 million.
Oh, okay. Thank you for correcting that.
I was gonna say if they ramp that to 50 that quick, I'm like, holy, that's gonna be like 200.
I like this. Vlad had said he got giddy when reviewing the crypto event agenda. Here's the quote. It's amazing that this administration has picked AI and crypto as its two most important strategic priorities. And that's what Robinhood has. Trade PMR, good notes on that. I thought the other thing that I thought was really interesting was the institutional. There was a big opportunity that Robinhood can go after. And Vlad said institutional revenue can exceed retail revenue for the company. That's actually the case with IBKR. So it's not really that far-fetched, even though right now, once they will finalize trade PMR, like that's their first institutional facing product. So there's a long runway to go to reach that TAM. And this is a company that executes at a high level. Actually, they did finalize the acquisition. So yeah, it's go time.
Did you say, yes, they did. Yeah.
But I mean, that's what it was.
The gold subscriber attach rate?
12%.
I remember hearing that, but I didn't put that down there. What is that now?
12%. And at the end of the quarter is 10.5.
Yeah.
So they went up 1.5% in less than a quarter. That must be the fastest growth rate in their history.
I bet it's higher now.
Well, I mean, yeah, it must be. Because I don't even see in a slow market why there would be a drop off in gold.
Mm-mm.
You know?
Especially when they're giving gold bars.
Yeah.
Gold bars, fun events like this. And if you're depositing 7,000 in your Roth, I mean, you get $270. That's worth $50 a year. Like, do the math.
Yeah, he talked about whenever maybe I didn't share this with you, Roy. Maybe I was talking with Amit earlier. But I think one of the new products that they are going to talk about on this gold event upcoming is going to have to do with family accounts. Some sort of linking between people's accounts that are part of the same household that is going to give them better benefits. Because he has mentioned in like the last 3 conversations that he's had that he wants like families to use this thing and that it should be better whenever you have more people on. And then he keeps bringing up this financial advisor quote about how 70% of users fire their financial advisor whenever their parents pass away. We want to lower that number. So how are you going to lower that number? Well, you're going to bring on the whole family to go to one person all through Robinhood. And then if there is a transition, you won't need to, switch away from that brokerage.
Do you think that's going to be the focus of the gold event?
Maybe not the focus, but I think that it's definitely going to be, well, not definitely, but I think that they are going to have another tier of user that has to do with platinum. I think that they're going to follow in Simple's footsteps there, and that they are going to allow households to link up to hit those AUM goals. And I don't know how high that goal is. Maybe it's $1 million. But that's what I think that is going to be added to that product.
So what did you guys think about the 1,000 bars gold giveaway that they're doing?
I like it.
Yeah, whatever.
I think it's better that they're giving away crypto too, but I mean, they're doing a lot of things. So they mentioned that was the first mystery event, and they have a second one basically the following week. So it's this week. Third mystery drop 2 weeks after, and then the Lost City of Gold. So they're doing a lot of things to jazz up excitement for this event. This event, absolutely they'll have new products, new features. They'll make it more compelling. Maybe they'll announce platinum tier. I don't know about that though, since it's specifically a gold event, Lost City of Gold. But no, I think it's cool. And it also helps, that it drives assets under management. We'll see how much it does as far as its success. So I'm hoping when I'm redeeming rewards from the Robinhood Gold card that counts towards that. So.
Yeah. I'm so excited to see the event. I can't wait to see what they show off. Obviously, I forget who it was. I don't actually think it was Vlad that said that they're going to show off something comparable to the gold card. I don't think family accounts or linked accounts would be that. So what do they have on top of it?
Do you think it's going to be more of a new banking product or an AI product? I feel like it's more AI.
I thought I remembered something about this gold event being focused around banking. But
What?
I could have sworn I remember that. And I think I actually remember that from the investor day.
Oh, you mean where they talked about, oh yeah, no, you're right. They did say that. No, you're exactly right. They said the next gold event, they're going to be talking about something as sexy as the 3% credit card, right?
In banking.
In banking, correct.
Yeah, I wonder if it has something to do with stablecoin, because they have an amazing amount of stablecoin relative to what they do. And I know that they talked about like weekend settlement.
They have not talked about the stablecoin that they partnered with. Not once. They made no statement about it.
Yeah. And they actually own, then they hold likely relatively little compared to the amount of stablecoin that they have. Probably a lot of it's USDC. But I mean, like Vlad's talked a lot about stablecoin, including in the fireside chat. And by the way, that's another piece of news. First was the NICE last November, and now it's the NASDAQ that mentioned, hey, we're moving to 24/5 markets. Bullish or bearish for Robinhood?
Bullish, 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 bullish.
But doesn't that mean more competition?
Yeah, but it just means overall trading, more volume. I think, I think it'll bring asset prices higher. I think more money goes into markets. I think there's just more trading, and I think that that's good for Robinhood. I think that
well, I think that it'll be good, but the spreads are going to get better, right? Yes. So like if there's more market makers they can route the exchanges to, or route the trades to from different exchanges, because right now the spreads on the overnight market kind of suck. So if those get better, I think that helps.
Yeah, because it's just no players, right?
Yeah.
And the awesome thing is Vlad, is not just like, oh, yep, they caught up to us. Too bad. He's talking about 24/7 markets with stocks being settled on the blockchain. And it's like, yeah, he is leagues ahead of where the market and the market makers are, and Robinhood will continue to be.
Yeah, people catching up and doing what Robinhood's been doing for a year is their business. They had to go from commission free, and then everyone else went commission free, and then what's the competition? Why would anyone switch to Robinhood if they're all doing commission free? Well, there's still an incentive to, and then all the new products that come after that have all been copying what Robinhood had designed and pioneered to start with, and then so this is just another one.
Let's say Bitcoin goes back to 60K and doesn't make a comeback after that this year. Do you think they strategically start building out new product initiatives to focus on if they lose a good chunk of crypto revenue?
Yes.
Yep.
I
think
so.
Every other business.
Yeah. I agree. I think they would do a hard pivot because last year they did about 100 million a quarter in crypto, maybe a little bit less. Last quarter they did 350 million. I think if that gets to like 60 to 80 million, if it gets like really bad, maybe even worse, then they're either going to do more gold subscriber stuff to get more of that SaaS revenue. Maybe they make more incentives to get more net deposits, to get more cash sweep revenue on net interest income. Like they're going to do something because they're too flexible of a business to get people to invest.
You think that's what's going to happen though? That crypto volumes are going to get worse than where they were, let's say, a year or a year and a half ago?
Dude, this is where winter.
Sorry, there was a winter.
Well, to me, it comes back to, look, here's my thing. We have the strategic Bitcoin reserve, right? First of all, what were your guys' thoughts on that reserve?
The exact same thoughts as you. I thought that it was disappointing relative to what people were expecting. And overall, it's bullish, but like there was expectations set that were not met. Like I think people wanted to see some sort of purchasing of Bitcoin. Now, I don't agree with, I think you tweeted the amount of capital gains or something that was made on the sale of Bitcoin would then go to purchase Bitcoin. I'd just say get rid of the sales tax or the capital gains on Bitcoin. Why would my selling of Bitcoin, I have to sell Bitcoin to then let the government buy Bitcoin? So every transaction, I have to give them some of my Bitcoin? That sucks.
So even though you hate that idea, because it was just a theory I floated on how to buy Bitcoin, at least I proposed an idea. The problem with this Bitcoin reserve is there was no ideas proposed on how they're going to fund buying Bitcoin. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because you're asking me about a crypto winter. Saylor's not buying anymore. I don't know if he's going to get it. He blew his last $2 billion at 97K. Now,
sold his last kidney.
He only buys on the way up.
He sold his last kidney.
Yeah, maybe he'll raise another couple billion over the coming months, but as of now, and maybe he does, right? But another couple billion is not going to make a difference. The ETFs have been disgusting. I don't know if anyone's seen the stat on the ETFs, but every single day for the past 3 weeks, yesterday we lost 189 million, or today we lost 189 million, Friday 409 million. I mean, it's been billions of dollars that are liquidating the ETFs. So that's not a catalyst anymore. So then who's buying? Right? Who the hell's buying? And if it's not the federal government because they didn't introduce a plan, Roy's, $1,000 DCA every other month. I mean, that's just not going to make the difference here. So if that's the case and there's no buying, I think their crypto volumes can get hit pretty badly.
Yeah.
Supposedly Saylor is buying. Every comment in your chat is saying Saylor's buying.
With what money? And if he is buying, let's say he's buying another $5 billion, that's not enough. Like, we need a lot of buying to get above 100,000, 150,000. We need an M2 supply that's going up. We need more liquidity. We need Trump to not threaten tariffs every other day. Like, I think the environment for Bitcoin is disgusting right now.
Yeah, and we're not in a crypto winter yet, though. Crypto winter is when people kind of forget that it exists and they think that it will never come back. Now, not everybody, but a good chunk of people do. Like, it's all a scam, everything. We're not there yet. It's still a ways to go. And we could be entering crypto winter. I think that we would this year, pretty much no matter what. But yeah, as far as the summit, like, it was just almost a nothing burger. What I thought was a big deal and does have an impact indirectly to Robinhood is the OCC's comments, specifically regarding crypto and banks. Even though Robinhood is not a bank and it impacts something like SoFi more directly, like, just the fact that the OCC is revising and then rescinding, it's another R word that I'm missing, redacting. Regardless, they're basically saying, no, you guys, we still need to revise some things, but we're moving to a place where banks can actually custody and have crypto on their platform and build those things out, use stablecoins for transactions. We're not there yet. It's not full approval. There's a lot of regulatory bodies that still need to be involved. But it's just kind of showing two things. One, the way that the administration is guiding and things are heading. David Sachs being the crypto czar doesn't hurt there at all. But two, the urgency with which the government is pulling these things out. I expected this would take a lot longer. It'd be a lot slower. The government tends to not move very fast. They're moving as if this is one of their top priorities, and they're acting like it, even if the crypto summit was not that exciting. So I thought that bit of news was pretty exciting, especially because with Bitstamp, Robinhood does have a compelling platform to be able to offer institutions, of course, to buy crypto. But the other part of it too is those banks and other fintechs that are looking to get in the crypto game. As regulation opens that up, they may not want to just wait and try to do it alone. They may want to partner with somebody that can help accelerate that on ramp. And one of those big players is Bitstamp, aka Robinhood.
Do you really think that the institutional clientele for crypto is going to make a dent? Like, look at even Coinbase. They're the biggest in the entire space. It doesn't even make up for like any part of their revenue. Like,
I agree. I think Bitstamp is bullish, but it's not like it's gonna move.
No. Hey, that's not what I'm saying. I think Bitstamp is super bullish for pushing consumer products. I don't actually care too much about the institutional side, but I think Bitstamp is going to bring more assets and bring more tools.
It's the banks, Tanner. Some banks will be able to do it alone, build that out themselves. A lot will look to partner with somebody, especially if they don't have years to build out those products. They'll be looking at things like the OCC mentioned last week and like, okay, this is a rev your engines moment, and we have not built our engine yet. We need to partner with somebody. And so Coinbase, Robinhood, Galileo, there's other players out there too, but those are going to be beneficiaries. And depending on how aggressive banks are, but some of the big players here are going to be pretty aggressive. That is meaningful. It's not nothing. It's actually a lot more interesting, I think, than institutions buying at very low margin, very low spread on Coinbase.
Yeah, maybe that's fair.
My point about the crypto argument is, look, I don't know if we're getting into crypto winter, but if we do, they've got to pivot because they're not going to get those crypto revenues anymore.
Yeah, they can scale back on marketing on the crypto side, the giveaways and everything like that they're doing, and still be building out products.
Yeah, who's going to buy Bitcoin? Robinhood is for giveaways. You realize that every giveaway that they do is all in crypto, so then you have to set up a crypto account with them, and then they put you in higher margin products for you to purchase.
It's smart. It's really, really smart, dude. And I love how Vlad thinks about crypto, because he thinks about it not as buying it on the balance sheet or whatever. That's such an elementary way, I think, of thinking about it. He's thinking about tokenization. He's thinking about like the actual use case of the blockchain, not just an asset that stores value over the long term, right? And so I think the use cases from that perspective are in abundance. But in terms of the direct transactional crypto revenue, I just don't know if we're like, I think February is going to put up another 15 to 20 billion in volumes, just like January was 20 billion. But then March, I mean, now it's 77,000. I don't know.
Yeah, February might even be a little bit lower than January.
You're right.
Slightly.
But yeah, honestly, like we've talked about it before, but the SEC, the complete shift there with Gary Gensler being out, Vlad could have all the ideas in the world under Gary Gensler as far as ways to use and incorporate blockchain, and very little of them could actually get done. Now the regulatory environment is very different, and he can actually, he was there at the crypto summit. So not everybody was invited. So he is seen as a leader here, and there's a good reason for that.
Last thing is S&P 500. So where were you guys when you found out the news that Robinhood was rejected from the S&P?
That's a good. I was watching your stream.
Yes.
So shout out to you and Stephen Fiorillo.
What was your reaction then when you saw it?
The same as yours.
Yeah, if I ever see a Jura coffee machine, I'm going to freak out. I don't know how Steve was putting the argument that that's more important. No one has to trade, but everyone needs coffee. They don't need a $4,000 coffee machine.
No, Steve was fucking with me. I refuse to believe he was serious. I hope he wasn't serious. But
I hope not. So that's the thing is I did this preview of, there's like a lot of companies that are eligible, but those that are like barely there with market cap, barely there with EPS, that are barely growing, I usually don't even mention those. A lot of them I don't even notice. Williams-Sonoma, Expand Energy, although I see the merit there, and TKO, which you can kind of see the merit. Those three all were in that tier of like barely eligible. Williams-Sonoma is like the biggest slap in the face. DoorDash, massive market cap. Like it is one of the bigger market caps that weren't actually in that were eligible. That one makes total sense. But yeah, Williams-Sonoma is like, if they waited probably like to today, I don't know where it's gone. Is it WSM?
Do you think they've fallen out of
They probably did. I bet that they did. Yes, they did.
Wait, they fell out of the market cap requirement?
Okay, no, it's 22.8 billion. So they're barely eligible. And
wait, hold on. We have to discuss this. Williams-Sonoma is 2 billion away from not even being eligible anymore.
Yes.
Here's the thing. You know what? I am one of these people that completely believe that they prioritize diversification. Okay. Yeah, so it's not that we could just keep adding all these financial services businesses and everything like this. I understand the overweighting of financial services, but then take out some shitty financial services businesses. They're not all doing what Robinhood is doing.
Also, why are they putting more energy? Like Expand Energy is some random ass oil and gas renewable energy company. Why do we need more energy?
So that one, yeah, I'm not sure on diversification. That is a 22.9 billion market cap company as well. Barely eligible, EPS barely eligible. You do look at EPS projections, they look downright rosy. So You know, if it makes sense on that one, if they believe the EPS projections is like, okay, I get that one. TKO, I can get that one, and it's also very diverse as well. But TKO is also barely eligible. It's at a 24.27 billion market cap, barely profitable, but it is. Well,
why is the WWE public? Like, did you guys know about this, or am I the only one who didn't know?
I didn't know, actually. Well, no, I'd heard of TKO. I had forgotten. That's what it is. So
I didn't know the UFC and WWE were public entities you could buy shares in. I did not know that.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's pretty recent. Like I'm pretty sure the WWE and UFC combined like a few years ago.
September 15th, 2023 is when they IPO'd.
Oh, it's very recent. Yeah, it's very recent.
Yeah, I remember hearing about it at the time. I was like, I'm not interested, whatever. No, if I invested, then I'd be up a little bit, but yeah.
No, so I feel like I shouldn't feel that bad because every day I'm the one who kept saying, I don't think they're getting in. A, I wanted to lower my expectations. B, I wanted to lower the audience's expectations because, like, it's the S&P committee, right? It is what it is. But I thought they would pick Coinbase, AppLovin. I thought they would pick, like, Datadog, all of these very important companies. But they picked a coffee maker. They picked the WWE. And they picked an energy company. DoorDash I have no problem with. And I just thought that was disrespectful.
Yeah. I mean, even Block. Like, I'm not bullish on Block at all. I think it's a decent company, but terrible stock. It deserves it above probably all three, but for sure Williams-Sonoma. Like, that one felt like you could never prove this, but that somebody had connections, like their daughter-in-law works high up and whatever, and so they are like, hey, let's get you in while you're still barely eligible, because they have that. Like, look at their revenue; they're shrinking year over year, and guess who is going to get hit massively in the face of tariffs? Williams-Sonoma. Like,
I was going to ask you, did any of you guys actually look at the financials of the company? I didn't realize that they were dying.
No, I looked at their homepage and they're selling Easter Bunny coffee mugs. And I'm like, this is shit from China that's going to be tariffed in 2 weeks.
Well, honestly, I don't know the company well at all. I just looked at the balance sheet, webpage real quickly through Amit and the stock itself. But unless I'm missing something, they're going to be removed from the S&P 500 at some point. Like that, when you become ineligible, that doesn't mean you're kicked out immediately. Mm-hmm. But it wouldn't shock me within 5 years if they're kicked out. It's the stupidest. It doesn't make sense. There's literally dozens and dozens of companies, not just Robinhood, that are more worthy, more eligible, and it's just a slap in the face to all of this. So
yeah, come on, put Shark Ninja there.
Like, dude.
Know. Yeah.
Who is paying $2,800? Can someone tell me who in their right mind is spending that much money?
Steve is.
No, Steve's smarter than that. Steve's not going to spend 20. Like, would anyone in the chat actually take out their credit card and spend $2,799.95 on an espresso machine?
Vlad's probably watching from home and he's like, oh yeah, I got one of those right here.
Well, Vlad's rich. That's different.
Yeah,
right? But like the
billionaires think different.
Come on, bro.
I'm always looking to try to find entry on a company called Shark Ninja. It's just a company that I'm absolutely in love with, and I do not have shares in. I don't have a vested interest other than I buy every single one of their products. But their coffee machine would blow that coffee machine away. That's all I'm thinking about, and it's much cheaper.
Are they eligible for the S&P 500?
No, the 12 billion.
Okay, yeah. Well, so diversification, like that's one of those things. I think you're right, Tanner, and I usually understate that. There's formal requirements, but there's also like they're looking for certain things and they don't want all the same thing.
Yeah,
that does hurt Robinhood somewhat, just because there's a lot of other fintech out there that is or financial institutions that are very exciting, that are worthy, that are compelling. Probably a dozen, and there's more all the time. So I still think Robinhood gets in this year. I'm a little bit surprised it wasn't this quarter. It may be a little bit especially if we pull back and they have some weaker quarters. The trade desk is kind of facing that too, where it's been eligible a long time, but it's had a couple of weaker quarters. I think that's weighed against it too. But yeah, AppLovin not being in, that was really surprising too.
I'm not drinking coffee anymore. I'm protesting.
Not
worth it.
That's why Celsius is up.
Yeah, why would just say green today, bro? It's just so weird.
I don't know.
Well,
Entries
I don't know.
get.
I think people just like to rotate into stuff that people are still going to buy in a recession. It's the same reason why you were looking at Elf being up. I do actually think it's, falls into that lipstick stock idea.
That's right.
But what's it called? So if you can find growth names, by the way, that still get purchased in a recession like Celsius, then maybe that's where people want to rotate. To say really quickly though, as much as Amit is really sad and his portfolio's down, he's very angry right now, and everyone's feeling his energy low. No one knows where the market's going, okay? And things can turn around quick. I always just feel like whenever there's this, this is going to be 2 years longer, this is going to be 6 months longer, I always find that whenever everyone is pointing in one direction, it usually is not that direction that we're headed. So
yeah, by the way, guys, I'm not sad. I'm just like, I'm actually sick, dude. Like I'm not gonna lie. Like I was about to text you guys to not do the podcast, but then I'm doing, like, I don't know what it is.
He did text us. He said he didn't want to do it. He's very sad.
I'm it's not even about I have to travel tomorrow. I have to get on a flight. And now I feel like I don't even know tomorrow, dude. It's like, that's why I'm more annoyed than the stock market.
So can I show, on Robinhood Legend. So it's fitting. You can see here, like this is RSI. When we get to oversold conditions, especially in a bull market, we tend to see a bounce. No one, again, knows where the market is going. But we're about at that, if you include after hours, which doesn't usually include, at that 10% correction area, especially if we pull back tomorrow. We are at RSI just under 30, which is considered oversold. And so you can see, like here, bounce. Let's zoom back out. Bounce. So it can go slightly over. In a bear market, or by the way, in a bull market, it can be overextended, overbought for a while longer. In a bear market, it can be oversold for a while longer. I looked at it with Tevis, so sorry if this is a repeat to you guys. But you can see it doesn't remain in oversold conditions for long. However, you can see here it bounced, but it still went down further as well. So I think that's probably where we're going to see, maybe even this week, is that we'll see a bounce just from that RSI and from things being so oversold. Some individual names, maybe Tesla, who knows, maybe Robinhood will keep going down. But usually everything kind of goes up and rallies and it feels great. That doesn't mean that the dip is over, especially while we have a lot of uncertainty in the market. So, things cannot go down, barring like COVID level events, just straight down plummeting past RSI. There has to be a massive catalyst, and the uncertainty is not enough.
I definitely don't do any level of technical analysis ever, but what do you guys think about fear and greed and it being at the lowest level since October of 22?
There are many bottom indicators right now. Like I can name 5 of them off the top of my head, but none of them matter. Fear and greed is one of them. Put volume today was the highest in 5 years. That's when everyone's that bearish, right? But the reason it doesn't matter is because this tariff volatility is not going away.
Yeah, short term it can matter. Long term, I think we have to have less uncertainty for the market. Don't have to, but we usually would need more certainty for the market to be able to confidently go up.
Yeah. I mean, look, the S&P lost its 200-day moving average. The last time we lost that was November 2023. That was a bottom. On Wednesday, we had one of the third largest, highest volume put option days on the S&P 500. Today, we had the highest, but the 2 times before that was a bottom. There's like a lot of fear and greed is worse than October 2022, not August 2024. So we're getting even worse than we were when the bull market started.
Right.
I mean, like, it's SoFi's under $11. Like, does that make any sense? No. Like, Robinhood at 35. That Robinhood at one point 20 minutes ago was almost at $31. Maybe the weekly pumped it back up to 35. But, dude, like, some of these prices are getting stupid. Some of these prices are still aggressive. Like, I'll admit, I'm a big Palantir bull. Even at $70, Palantir is expensive. And Tanner's smiling right now because he's happy I'm saying it. But I mean, dude, we're holding 70. I hope we can keep holding it. But if this market keeps going to the downside, Palantir's multiple could get hit as well, right? So, but some of these names are stupid, and I don't know if market participants step in and buy those dips.
Beyond RSI in VIX, depending on like how sudden that is, which VIX doesn't really apply to me at this point, even though it's elevated, is comments on Twitter specifically, or X, and even here in the YouTube comments, is too late to buy puts. This is just the beginning. Robinhood to $8, Tesla to like $70. And I know people are, sometimes being facetious, but sometimes not. Robinhood is still so expensive. No, it's not.
Yeah,
but okay.
This is just the beginning. Comments are just like, I just want to buy. I want to buy the dip.
And I posted like a chart of Robinhood. I posted a chart of, I don't think I did Tesla, Palantir. And the comments are as ridiculous as they were like 3 or 4 weeks ago when I was saying the opposite. I was like, dude, there's way too much greed in the market. People are chasing that next play. Amit, you posted something on Grab, and Amit's, not a shill. He's a bull. He's been investigating Grab for months, but all of a sudden that grabbed, pun intended, the market's attention. People were like flocking into that, just for the next best thing, the next shiny object. And you see that almost always at a local top.
Yeah.
Now we're seeing the opposite. And usually that's a local bottom indicator, like within a week or so. It could be a little bit longer, especially if there's more catalysts. I would be very surprised if we don't see some kind of a bounce over the next 5 days. I'm not trading that. I have my strategy as far as using cash. I'm down like 2.5% cash. So allocating a little more aggressively here. I do think that we can keep getting dippier over the long term, but short term, yeah, it's overdue for a bounce, barring a big catalyst.
You hear that, guys? Roy says you can make money by next week. Go ahead, pull out the loans. No, I'm kidding.
To give the Bears some credit, if we do dip further than where we're at right now, like another 3-4% over the coming week or 2 weeks, I mean, that just shows you how bad sentiment is. Because at this point, you know what really showed me that today? The high flying Nvidia, Palantir, Tesla, those are all down. Financials and utilities were down today, and those are institutional trades. Those are not retail is not into JP Morgan. So the fact that like institutional money managers are like, yeah, we're getting out of the banks, that's a little concerning.
So another indicator too is flight to safety, or safe stocks like Apple, which I don't think is safe. I think it's the market doesn't understand it. Those are starting to sell off too. And usually at a local bottom, you see, well, at first from the top, you see the riskiest, most high flying names sell off and continue to sell off like we do. And then towards the end of that dip, you see those safe, stable names really sell off hard too. They join in that fall. And Apple is a great indicator for that. It's my canary in a gold mine type thing. So I love seeing it.
That's the one company where I think when the music is playing, everyone's, oh, this is the flight to safety, flight to safety, flight to safety, until you get to times like this where people start to reevaluate what they're holding. And they're like, wait, why are we holding this company? This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, Nvidia is a screaming buy versus Apple. It's not even negotiable. Okay. It's great.
I do have some news. I am going to be selling Hood pretty soon.
Yep.
Okay.
I need you guys to be more reactive to that.
No, because I know that like for an hour and 8 minutes, you tell us now. Tell us the joke.
No, there's no joke. I have to pay taxes. And so I either was going to sell my Hood options that are $20 strikes that are spreads. So I'm not really getting full value for them because they're spreads and they need a theta decay to maximize full value, or I could sell the stock. And I asked myself today, I was like, wait a second, why would I sell the spreads when the strike is 20? If Hood's not above 20 by January 2026, something really went wrong. And I can make a 5x if Hood is above 20 by then versus selling the stock. So I will have to sell at least 1,000 shares to help cover the taxes. But yeah, at least it's better than selling the spreads at this level right now. But the reason I'm saying this also is because that leads to the compounding effect of momentum to the downside, right? Because other people have to pay their taxes. Other people have juicy Hood averages that they probably need to take some profits on to sell. And it's like, that's going to create more downside momentum. Unfortunately, I didn't sell at 65. I'm not perfect, right? So it is what it is.
By the way, pickleball bracket.
Dude, I got one of those in December.
Yeah.
That is awesome.
I'm amped.
So cool. It's so cool. But yeah, the point is like,
cool merch.
What do you say?
What's with the cool merch?
I needed a decoration.
Oh, the company that we talk about actually loves us, Tanner. I know you don't know what that feels like. But no, not that one. The other one that begins with an S. I know you know. I'm just messing with you. But
I don't talk about that company anymore.
dude, when Noto said stop posting about the stock, I lost my shit, bro.
No, actually, I heard your thing. I didn't read it like that at all. Like you read it like it was like a vicious thing. I read it like, you're killing me.
No, Noto said with 2 periods, no emojis, stop posting screenshots about the stock. And I was like, did he just say that to Roy and data-driven investing? The 2 biggest advocates outside of Tanner and Tevis for this stock?
He's a double punctuation
Imagine
guy.
Vlad, dude, imagine you posted Robinhood and Vlad was like, hey, Tanner, just don't do that, bro.
Yeah, but he didn't. I don't know. I
Dude,
guess there's ways to read into it, but the way I just read it, and like if you look at all the comments, everyone's just laughing. Like I don't know.
Yeah, but no, everyone's afraid to post the screenshot to piss him off. Like I'm seeing people's comments of like they're afraid to post the screenshot because Noto's gonna get upset.
Double exclamation mark, double exclamation mark, double exclamation mark. He's got a bunch of double periods too. I don't know why, but he's like a double punctuation guy. So
I didn't like that, bro. As someone who watches you guys advocate for the stock, I didn't like that shit.
Now what I legitimately don't like is, and I don't know why they're not doing it. They should take full advantage of Tanner, of Chris, of Tevis, and interview with these guys.
Take advantage of me, Anthony.
Yeah, Tanner, honestly, like is the man, or Chris, or Tevis, like any of those guys. Like me, nah. But go with one of these guys that really has been following the company passionately for a long time. Least you can do, not just for them, but also for retail. Like it makes all the difference in the world.
Everyone should spam Noto with the $11 stock screenshot.
So yeah, with SoFi, I know this is Robinhood Weekly, but I had this whole beam thing when SoFi was under $10. This dark mode Roy, all the lights off, super dark. We're going to get dark mode Roy again pretty soon if things don't turn around. So I'm actually kind of excited about that.
Yeah, it's better on the eyes.
Yes. Yeah. The less you can see of me, the better.
See, but this is why having a retail audience is important, because there's a bunch of retail investors in Hood. Hood's down on a Monday night. People are looking to people who have been in Hood for a while to give them some level of analysis on what's happening. This is why the SoFi Weekly is good, why the Palantir Weekly makes sense, right? And so that's why I just think as a CEO, you got to be grateful for that, bro, not like dismissive of that. That's my point.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been so long. I just kind of like, I think they're trying to take a more mature stance. And I think to a little bit of a degree, I feel like Block or Robinhood, I think people think of these as like young tech companies. And I think people look at SoFi as like a mature business where they could, trust their money there. And I think that both could be a good strategy depending on the type of customer that you're trying to bring on.
Yeah, that's fair.
SoFi is in a good position. Like I actually am very bullish on them right now. Like they're doing well.
I bought more on Friday.
Yeah.
Of course, I bought more at 12 and now it's at 10, but still.
That's the beautiful thing about the loan platform business is as rates go down, no matter what the reason is, there's no risk for SoFi as they drive volume through the loan platform business to them. They'll have more and more appetite for loans as well, even in a recessionary environment, which is kind of weird, but it's true. As far as like their own loans, maybe they don't perform quite as well, but like there's zero risk with that loan platform business for those type of loans because they instantly kick over to whoever the client is. And they keep announcing deal after deal made behind that. There's a lot of demand right now, even in this environment.
How bad the dip got on Palantir today? Guess who bought, or not Palantir, Palantir and Hood, but guess who bought Hood?
Who?
Freaking Cathie Wood.
Oh,
After 7 months of just selling or holding, about 7 months, roundabout, she buys 269,000 shares.
Scroll down.
Yeah, she did sell SoFi as well. I wasn't going to bring that up.
Out of SoFi.
Wait, no, completely? She's done?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Oh, that's why this thing tanked today. Even more.
That's her. Well, I mean, the last number that we had was March 6th or whatever. So there could have been but essentially she has like 10,000 shares now.
So what do you think the logic is behind the SoFi for Hood Palantir Tesla swap?
Clearly SoFi is no longer innovative and being
No, but this is where Cathie makes no sense. Why are you selling SoFi at $10.90? Like, how does this make any sense?
I think
At
that maybe she has higher conviction in the other names, which is fine. She actually does an incredibly good job of timing Tesla buys and sells. If that's all she did, she'd be very, very successful. And she has a measure of success. But yeah, I think it's baloney that she's like, oh, 5 years and innovation, all these things like that. That's just not true. That's the narrative that they'll tell you. But she's just a trader.
Yeah. Do you think that like why doesn't she just run an ETF and just buy and hold a little bit long? Like, why does she make all of these transactions? Like, she just moves way too much. It's like she needs to post transactions or something.
It's insane.
It's marketing.
It's
just constant moves to bad performance.
Also, people are saying she needed money. I think SoFi will outperform her genomics stuff in a year. Like, I really do. I think SoFi is from these levels, $11 versus CRISPR Therapeutics at I think 65 or whatever. I think SoFi outperforms. She could have got money from other places. She didn't have to sell SoFi. And it's really confusing at these levels after the earnings that SoFi put up, how you sell.
But yeah, it really is marketing. Like they have, and they want people to subscribe to their daily thing. And if they don't trade, for multiple days in a row, people just kind of lose interest in everything. So
that's a fair point.
I think she feels, unlike most hedge funds, which, once a quarter, they will note their moves. So you don't know when they did, what they did. Cathie does it every single day. And so that's and the reason is marketing. It's not just transparency. So yeah, works against her.
Like, she is moving in and out, but I think if she probably just kept a lot of positions, she'd have a lot more money, not just from the better performance, but potentially more inflows. But maybe it is a marketing thing. Maybe they think that they're seeing more inflows from popping up on X every day from a, daily ARK Invest account, which I actually know who runs that. I'm not trying to be derogatory to that person.
They have some great people at ARK, but it's just marketing that innovation. Like, there's an element of it, but it's not all about innovation. Otherwise, they'd have a very different investment style.
No, but
great research, terrible trades.
I keep up with their trades every single day. It's been boring for the past month and a half. Like, it's not been exciting. Today it was probably going to be more exciting because of these dips. I'm just confused why SoFi as the cash to get liquidity for the other stocks, right?
Like, I don't think every other name more.
What did you say?
I said she believes in every other name more than SoFi. I think that's the reason. I don't know all the other names that I've never looked into Beam or whatever, so I don't know why that's better than SoFi. So
genomics.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch that area. So
that's where I doubt the research, bro. I think SoFi at these levels, whoever is conducting the management of capital there, it's like, what are you doing? And I think we have authority to say this, dude. Roku, Zoom, I mean, just loser after loser. So like SoFi at these levels to buy the dip versus like any of the genomics that are just selling more Roku, I don't.
Does she still have Roku? That one, no offense to the company, but like I will never forget that she sold Palantir, one of the most innovative companies out there, for Roku. Supposedly because of innovation. I know government contracts and stuff at the time, and it was years ago, but like, come on.
Bro, over the last little bit, she lost, like, NVIDIA over the last, 3 years, I think she lost money on that stuff. Like, it's impossible to lose money on NVIDIA over the last 3 years. Like, I don't know how she did it. And that was before the correction. Like, I remember whenever I heard that statistic, NVIDIA was like $150. Like, you'd actually have to be kind of skilled to get it wrong. Like,
in her defense, she got in 2014 in NVIDIA, but she sold before the massive run up in 2022.
How do you lose money?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know.
She keeps buying into these things because she wants the, I guess, maybe promotional aspect of it. But I don't know, man. I just think they need to chill on some of the big, like Zoom, Roku, Peloton. Like, it's clear that the electric bike was not going to be better than NVIDIA or Tesla or something like this. And they probably should have just bought more Tesla.
And Skywalker mentioned genomics, you know, like especially CRISPR plays. Fascinating technology. It'll take time, but at least I can say, like with Beam, I don't, you know, I don't believe in that company. I'm not investing in that company. But you can't say it's not innovative. So like, fair enough. And if she's holding for 5 years, maybe it'll be great for her. But like Roku,
Yeah,
come on.
I'm not even sure if Cash App or SoFi fit into the innovation fund. I'm sure there's more innovative companies than those names as well.
All of them are supposed to be innovation, though. Like from ArcF to ArcG to, you know, ArcK, of course, is a flagship.
but the point is, if she's buying Hood, that's how bad, because she hasn't bought Hood in a long time. Like her last buys on Hood were $9, $10 years ago. So for her to get back in at 35, I mean,
is that getting back in? She reopened a position, or she had shares before?
She had plenty of shares, but she just hasn't bought in a long time. I mean, last time I checked, she sold at 23, and then I think at 52.
Some of that might have been rebalancing, though. She had a lot of it, a lot.
Right.
Yeah, that's another thing too. You can't just look at her total share counts, because a lot of it could just be like the amount of inflows and outflows that she has. So the share counts can go down without her selling.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. All right. We want to wrap this up.
Yeah. I think the conclusion is Hoodie is in a tough spot right now, given the nature of the markets. If you DCA, you have to be ready for it to go lower. All three of us are in agreement that it is ridiculously cheap at these levels. If they can continue to even get, 30 to 40% of the growth we think they're going to be able to put up this year. But if the markets continue to be volatile along with Bitcoin, then yeah, Hood could be in some pretty bad it could be in a pretty bad space, but that could create some really good opportunities for the long term. And so I think that's the conclusion on this.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back next Monday. And yeah, thank you all for joining. Hopefully we were able to give you some analysis on what's going on with the markets and what's going on with Robinhood as well. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks for coming out.
See you guys next week. Bye, everybody.